Welcome back to Cossy Podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to brand new video. Thomas Partey has sustained a long-term injury. It has been communicated by the Ghana FA. It has also been communicated by some of the big outlets. Ghana Blog, The Athletic. They've just confirmed that Thomas Partey is going to be out for a couple of weeks and potentially a couple of months as well. Soon after Julian Timber picking up that injury, Thomas Partey is out as well. I don't know where Arsenal get from here. I don't know what actually is going on with this team. I don't know why injuries are picking us at this point in time when Arsenal are struggling. We're already struggling without injuries, and now they are here. Now we are going to be struggling with injuries as well. Where do we get from here? Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. Let me know in the comment box below what you think Arsenal should do. First and foremost, with the injuries, what is causing these injuries? Of course, Thomas Partey one is recurring, but 3 to 4 months, ever since he came in at Arsenal, he has never had that long period of time. 3 to 4 months. It's a very long period of time. Are we having something wrong with the physio? Are the doctors doing something wrong, in your opinion? Do you think Thomas Partey is just injury prone? How about Julian Timber as well? And where do we get from here? What would you love to see Mikel Arteta do? Do we go back to our old system last campaign with Saliba, Gabriel, Ben White, and Alexander Zinchenko, Declan Rice replacing Thomas Partey in that single pivot, and then we roll like that? What do we do? Where do we get from here? Let's talk about it. Let's really talk about it. Now, when I saw this story, personally, I was a little bit shaken and I was a little bit in shock. And I thought it was a fake story. I really thought it was a fake story. Or I really wanted it to be a fake story. There are two different scenarios here. Me wanting it to be a fake story, which I actually wanted, and it actually being a fake story, which it is not. It is not a fake story. Thomas Partey will not be available against Man United. He will also not be available for Arsenal in the next 3 to 4 months. Now, according to the Ghana FA, they're saying that on Thursday, Thomas Partey picked up a groin injury. Right, he suffered a groin injury in training on Thursday. Mikel Arteta didn't give us an update on that, did he? I mean, he really didn't give us the full extent of the team news. If it was as serious as the Ghana FA are saying, why didn't Mikel Arteta say anything in his press conference? I really cannot say anything. I really cannot tell. But the Ghana FA are reporting and they are confirming this because Arsenal have not said no, and not any other big source has actually come out to dispute the story. So they're saying that Thomas Partey suffered that groin injury on Thursday, and he's going to be out for a minimum period of a couple of weeks. But of course, it could escalate to a couple of months. Early indications are indicating that groin injuries usually take 3 to 4 months. So Thomas Partey could be out for a couple of weeks or a period of 3 to 4 months. I don't know how to react to this personally. I really, really do not. Because, losing Julian Timber is such a heavy toll. It took such a heavy toll on our squad, the way we play, the way Mikel Arteta wants to set up, and we've really struggled. We've absolutely struggled. We are still looking for that one player that can fit into the Julian Timber role. Tomiyasu struggles there. Jakub Kivior struggles there. Alexander Zinchenko does not give you that defensive ability of Julian Timber. And we've all been talking about it. Why doesn't Mikel Arteta maybe go back to the system we played last campaign? Maybe Thomas Partey alongside Rice and Odegaard. That could be our best defense. That could be our best midfield. That could be the best midfield pivot we have of Rice and Partey. And then Odegaard pushing further forward as the creative player. Guess what? We cannot do it again. We cannot do it anymore. Partey is out. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling devastated at the moment. Jesus Christ. Listen, Thomas Partey, like I said in the summer when there was all these rumors and talk of him leaving the club, of him going away, I said he's such an important player, and I'm one of the parties that hugely advocated for Thomas Partey to stay at Arsenal. I'm one of the parties who hugely said you cannot think about replacing Thomas Partey. You cannot think about selling Thomas Partey. Whether you have Rice or not, Thomas Partey is a key player. He's been here since the summer of 2020. He's one of the senior players at Arsenal. He's one of the senior players that have won a European competition. Now that Arsenal back in Europe, he's one of the players that we needed back in the team. We needed him to be there. And I was very happy when we confirmed by Mikel Arteta that he was going to stay. That is the message I wanted. That is all. That was all of the message I wanted. I wanted Thomas Partey to stay at Arsenal. Full stop, done, understand. I didn't ask for nothing more. But now, there is an extra story of Thomas Partey being injured. I don't know where this one is coming from. I just don't understand why we would have such bad news, like following each other month after month. Last month, Timber picks up an injury. This month, Partey. Next month, I don't know. I don't know who's gonna pick up. And of course, remember, Gabriel Jesus is coming back. So, listen. This one is a huge blow. Whether he's been playing at right back or not, whether he's been playing out of position or not, Thomas Partey is an important player for Mikel Arteta. He's an important player for Arsenal. You look at his ability to win the ball back. You look at his ability in tight spaces. You look at his ability to find Bukayo Saka. I don't think there is any other player that finds Bukayo Saka more than Thomas Partey. And one of the advantages that we have always had, by the way, guys, is that literally Thomas Partey picks up injuries. Yes, he's injury prone ever since signing for Arsenal, but he really doesn't get injured during the beginning of the campaign. Like, those first 4-5 games, he's there. 4-5-6 games, he's there. Then he can pick up his injuries and come back, close to January, pick up an injury as well, and then things like that. But now, Mikel Arteta has got to rethink his whole philosophy again. We've got to go back to zero. We've got to go and find a different system. I don't know, because the current system we are playing, that it's clear that the players are not yet there. It's clear that not every player is at the same page with Mikel Arteta. Just imagine when we play Man United and further forward and further on, it's going to be a new system. It's going to be something different from what we've known. It's not going to be Partey inverting into midfield from right back and doing all that cool stuff. It is going to be something very, very different. So for me, it's a huge blow. But then I also wanted to say this, and I might just play devil's advocate here. Could it be a blessing in disguise that Thomas Partey is out? Maybe out for a long time. Probably not. I would want him to be out maximum 2 weeks, maximum 3 weeks. I would be okay with that. But him being out for 6 weeks, 6 months, 4 months, that is an escalated, elongated period of time. Just imagine when you play a club like Man United and you have Partey and Rice in that midfield. Just imagine when you play a club like Man City and you have Partey and Rice in that midfield. It just feels so safe. It just allows you to have that extra bit of security in front of your back four, and everything could actually be much better. But why I was saying that this could be a blessing in disguise, and don't get me wrong, I know the comment section is going to be absolutely buzzing when I say this, so bring it on. We might actually have to revert to our old system last campaign, which we played last campaign, which was actually very successful as well last campaign. So Mikel Arteta was asked about that in the press conference, and he said, are you thinking about going back to the old system? Are you thinking about playing the way you played last season? And he said, well, we cannot do that. Xhaka is gone. Zinchenko's been injured, and now Thomas Partey is injured. By the way, he didn't say this, but it is a no-brainer. He's injured. So he said, and literally what he was trying to say is that you can't go back to the old system because the ingredients, the parts, and the roles, in that structure are actually no longer available. The ingredients to play those roles are no longer available. And of course, you understand him, and I actually do understand him. But when we play Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel and Zinchenko at in defense, those four are still around. So we would replace Declan Rice with we would replace Thomas Partey with Declan Rice. Fabio Vieira can come in for Granit Xhaka. I think that would actually work. That would mean that Martin Odegaard can be as high up the pitch as he wants. He can go in those advanced areas as much as he wants, and it will be all right. And then Martinelli, Jesus, and Saka could be up top. It will be very similar to what we had last campaign. And in my opinion, although Mikel Arteta wants to be unpredictable, although he wants to go, this is a new system, it's a new season, and therefore we want to do something different, it might actually help us, come around into the season. It might help us, get that, steady grind onto the campaign. Okay? It's just my opinion. I'm not even saying that it's a good thing Thomas Partey is injured. I'm just saying we have to look at other options now. Okay? But the advantage and why Arsenal are lucky, we have Declan Rice. Just imagine this was last campaign. We didn't have Jorginho. We didn't have Rice. We had Albert Sambi-Lokonga and Thomas Partey. If this was last campaign, it would mean necessarily that Lokonga has to play for the next consecutive 4 months. Unless you go and get a free agent. I mean, I'm not really sure what kind of free agents are available on the market. I might have to do a video, so I might actually have to do my research. But imagine Lokonga against Man United. Imagine Lokonga against Man City. Against Sevilla. Against PSV. Lokonga in the Champions League. It would have been catastrophic and disastrous. So it also means that Mikel Arteta signed Declan Rice and he made him a priority, a huge target for him, well knowing something like this could happen. He signed a player who's got the engine to cover for Odegaard. We've been told by The Athletic. A player who's got the engine to cover for Kai Havertz at the same time, defensively. So he knew something like this was going to happen. He knew it wasn't a surprise that Thomas Partey would pick up an injury. It is always a matter of when for Thomas Partey to be out with an injury rather than if. So the availability and the presence of Declan Rice, a more durable player, a more physical player in my opinion, and a more kind of sophisticated midfielder, it just gives us options. It just allows us to sail on through this storm. It is a storm that will eventually come down when we get to the new year. We will be hearing stories of Partey close to coming back, because if he misses September, so it is September, October, November, December. So Partey comes back in January, and Julian Timber comes back in March or April, right? Around there. So it is a storm that has hit us, and it will sail on. But how do you sail on, right? Do you sail on by using excuses like Eric Ten Hag last campaign? Well, Arsenal are lucky; they are not, suffering injuries. If they were suffering injuries, they would be in a much bad situation like us. Or do you sail through that storm by replacing Timber with a player like Alexander Zinchenko, who's got a much better offensive record, and replacing Thomas Partey with a player like Declan Rice? Because Rice last campaign had the most interceptions and he had the most ball recovery success. Again, that is a masterclass of a player. But of course you have Jorginho there as well. I think Arteta will be thinking about Jorginho a lot of the time. Jorginho cannot invert from right back to midfield, but he can stay and he can start games as a single pivot. So what we can do is Declan Rice inverting from left back into midfield, if that is what Mikel Arteta wants. I'm not saying it's the best thing to do. I'm saying if you still insist on inverting with players here and there, that is a very, very big option. That's a viable option. But Partey being out, I don't know even what I'm blabbering about. It's absolutely sick. It makes me sick. I I'm just lost for words, and that's why you see I'm just speaking. I'm trying to find a reason to comfort myself because I know how important this guy is. I know how important this guy is to Arsenal, to Mikel Arteta, to the system. Whether he plays as a single pivot, whether he plays alongside Rice in that midfield, he's been helping Rice to cope up with the new Arsenal life and Arsenal system. And now we have to sail on without him for some good months. Thomas Partey is out injured for 3 to 4 months, according to the Ghana FA. It could be a couple of weeks. So let's hope for the best. I'll speak to you right in the next one, my people.